Somebody needs to hear this today. God knows it's hard. He sees the weight you carry. He feels the pain that nobody else sees. And He understands the nights when you've cried yourself to sleep, wondering if help will ever come. But I'm here to tell you, in the voice of faith, that help is on the way. Your breakthrough is closer than your doubt. Your victory is waiting on the other side of your struggle, and your strength is being renewed even as we speak. The trials you face are not to break you. They are designed to prepare you for the glory that's coming. So I'm asking you to lean in, to open your heart, and let this message speak life, hope, and courage into your spirit, because God knows it's hard, but help is coming. You have to understand that the God we serve is not a distant observer of your life. He is intimately acquainted with every detail of your journey. He knows the burdens you carry. He knows the tears you've shed in the quiet of your room when nobody else is watching. He knows the sleepless nights when anxiety grips your heart and fear whispers lies in your ear. And the beauty of it all is that He is not powerless to intervene. He sees the struggle you're in, and His eyes are upon you with a love that never wavers, a compassion that never fades, and a mercy that is new every morning. You may feel invisible in your pain, like nobody understands the heaviness that presses down on your spirit, but God understands. He understands the moments when you feel like giving up, when the voices around you and even inside you say that it's too much, that you cannot endure another day, that the weight is too heavy, that the situation is impossible. But He wants you to know that He sees the effort you've been putting in, the endurance you've shown. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, God sees it. Your persistence in the face of difficulty, your commitment to hold on when everything inside of you wants to let go, your refusal to surrender to despair. He sees it all, and it matters to Him. This is why the first step towards strength is understanding that you are not alone. Your struggle is not unnoticed, and your pain is not meaningless. There is purpose in the pressure. There is significance in the suffering, because God is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet see. He is orchestrating events, aligning people, opening doors, closing doors, all with the intention of bringing you to a place of victory that surpasses your current understanding. Even when the storms are raging, even when the winds of difficulty are battering you from every side, God's presence remains steadfast. He knows the path you're on, and He knows the obstacles that lie ahead. That knowledge is not for judgment or condemnation. It is a reflection of His intimate care for you. He knows where you are, and He knows where you need to be. He sees the battles that are unseen, the challenges that no one else knows about, the fears that you try to hide from the world, and the dreams that you keep close to your heart. God sees it all, and in His sight, nothing is wasted, nothing is overlooked, nothing is irrelevant. Every tear, every prayer, every act of faith, every moment you've chosen to trust Him instead of giving in to despair, He notices it all. And because He sees it, He is preparing to move on your behalf. You may not have the solution yet. You may not see the way forward. You may not hear the answer in the moment. But His eyes are on you, and He is preparing your help. Your challenge is not to understand how it will happen. Your challenge is not to predict the outcome. Your challenge is to hold on to the truth that God sees you. The weight you carry is heavy, but God knows how heavy it is. The pain you feel is deep, but God knows how deep it is. And the battles you fight may seem overwhelming, but God knows the strength you have, and He knows how to bring forth help exactly when you need it. Your struggle is real, but so is His power. Your suffering is felt, but so is His love. And as you recognize that God sees, that He knows, that He is aware, it changes the way you walk through your difficulty. It gives you hope in the midst of hopelessness, courage in the midst of fear, and the reassurance that you do not have to fight alone, because the One who created the universe is intimately involved in your life, watching, guiding, and preparing a way for your victory. You may not feel like it, you may not see it, but God's eyes are upon you, and His understanding surpasses anything you could ever imagine, and His timing, though it may test your patience, is perfect, and every moment that feels like delay is actually a moment of divine preparation, and every tear you've shed is being counted, every prayer is being heard, and every effort you've made to endure is being honored, and God sees it all. Your weight is not wasted, and I need you to hear that today, because so many people look at a period of delay and assume it means failure, that it means God has forgotten them. or that it means they are not worthy of the breakthrough they've been praying for. But that is a lie straight from the enemy. The truth is, your wait is a necessary part of your preparation. God is using this season to shape you, to mold you, to strengthen you, to stretch your faith, and to build resilience in your spirit that will carry you through every challenge that comes after this moment. Every day you wait, every night you endure, every trial you face is not wasted. It is a part of the divine process. I want you to understand that when God delays, He is not denying, He is designing. He is orchestrating circumstances in ways that you cannot yet comprehend. Your patience is being refined, your character is being polished, your faith is being proven, and your perspective is being broadened so that when the answer comes, when the breakthrough arrives, when the help manifests, you will not only be ready to receive it, but you will be able to steward it with wisdom and gratitude. You see, sometimes the wait is as important as the answer itself, because without the wait, without the refining, without the preparation, you might not recognize the blessing when it comes, or you might not have the strength to hold it. God knows that you cannot handle everything all at once, and sometimes He holds back what you have prayed for, not to punish you, not to test you in a cruel way, but to protect you, to give you time to grow, to give you time to develop the endurance that will be required when your moment arrives. So do not despise the waiting period. Do not lose heart. Do not believe the lies of discouragement that tell you that nothing is happening, that God is silent, or that your situation is hopeless, because nothing could be further from the truth. Even when you feel like the clock is ticking too slowly, even when it seems like everybody else is moving ahead and you are stuck, remember that God's timing is perfect and that He has not forgotten you. Your wait is intentional, and it is filled with purpose. It is shaping your perspective, teaching you to rely not on your own strength but on His, and revealing the depth of faith that lies within you. The breakthrough is not simply a result of a wish or a prayer. It is a result of preparation, perseverance, and faithfulness in the waiting season. Every challenge you face while you wait is an opportunity to deepen your trust in God, to build spiritual muscle, and to position yourself for the blessings that are on the horizon. You may not understand it now, you may not see it now, but the time you have spent waiting is producing in you a readiness that will make the coming victory even sweeter. When help arrives, when doors open, when answers manifest, you will be able to recognize them, receive them, and walk in them with clarity and confidence, because the waiting has trained you, disciplined you, and equipped you to fully embrace the life that God has in store. I want you to know that your delay is not denial, your pause is not punishment, your struggle is not oversight. It is all part of a divine timeline, a sacred orchestration that only God can manage. And every day you endure faithfully, every moment you remain steadfast in prayer, every time you refuse to give up, you are moving closer to the breakthrough that has been promised. You are getting closer to the manifestation of the help that God has been preparing. You are stepping toward a moment that will redefine your life, and the wait, though difficult, is proving that you are ready, that you are worthy, that you can handle what is coming, and that God's plan is unfolding exactly as it should, even when it feels slow, even when it feels silent, and even when it feels like nothing is changing, because every second, every day, every struggle is being used to bring you to the place where your faith meets your favor, your patience meets your promise, and your endurance meets your elevation. Strength comes through perseverance, not avoidance. And I need you to hear that today, because so many people are looking for a shortcut to victory, a quick fix, a fast track out of their pain. And the truth is, there are no shortcuts in the kingdom when it comes to building the kind of strength that lasts, the kind of resilience that cannot be shaken, and the kind of faith that moves mountains. You see, strength is not given to the one who runs from difficulty. It is cultivated in the one who faces it head on, who refuses to quit, who pushes forward even when the body is weary, the spirit is tired, and the mind is overwhelmed, because strength is forged in the fire of trial. It is tested in the pressure of adversity, and it is proven in the persistence of the faithful. God is not impressed with the person who gives up at the first sign of struggle, who turns away from challenge, or who avoids the hard work of growth. He is moved by the one who endures, the one who fights, the one who stands when the world says fall. and who keeps moving when everything inside them says stop. Every hardship, every obstacle, every setback, every failure is an opportunity to build muscle in your spirit, to deepen your character, to sharpen your focus, and to strengthen your resolve. And the more you persevere, the stronger you become, the more capable you are of handling the blessings that God has prepared, and the more equipped you are to lead, inspire, and uplift others who are walking through their own storms. Avoidance may give temporary relief, but it never produces permanent results. It never cultivates resilience. It never teaches endurance, and it never brings lasting victory, because strength is not found in comfort. It is not born in ease, and it is not developed in the absence of difficulty, but it grows in the middle of the struggle. It rises from the ashes of trial, and it flourishes in the soil of persistence. I want you to understand that every time you choose to face what is hard instead of running, every time you decide to take another step when your legs are shaking, every time you speak words of faith when fear is screaming in your ear, you are strengthening your spirit, you are increasing your capacity to handle life, and you are preparing yourself to receive the next level of blessing, breakthrough, and victory that God has in store. Because God measures the blessing by the strength of the vessel, and He is not going to put a crown on someone who is not ready to bear it. He is not going to open doors for someone who is not prepared to walk through them, and He is not going to release favor to someone who has not demonstrated the endurance to steward it wisely. So every challenge you face is an opportunity. Every trial you encounter is a lesson. Every difficulty is a teacher, and every struggle is a building block for the strength that God is cultivating in you. It is in the perseverance, not the avoidance, that you discover the depth of your courage, the power of your faith, and the reality of God's presence in your life. Because when you refuse to quit, when you refuse to give in, when you refuse to let fear dictate your decisions, God is able to pour His strength into you, to equip you with supernatural courage, to arm you with wisdom beyond your understanding, and to position you for victories that exceed your imagination. And it is this kind of strength, born through perseverance, tempered by trial, and refined in the crucible of difficulty, that prepares you not only for the blessing that is coming, but for the life you are called to live, the purpose you are designed to fulfill, and the impact you are meant to have in the lives of others. And the testimony you will carry will be powerful. It will be authentic. It will inspire generations. And it will declare to the world that God knows it's hard, but those who persevere will never be forsaken, those who endure will never be defeated, and those who keep moving forward in faith will experience a strength that cannot be broken, a courage that cannot be shaken, and a victory that cannot be stolen. Faith activates divine intervention, and I need you to hear that today, because too many people are waiting for God to act without understanding that He works in partnership with the faith He has placed in your heart, that He responds to the confidence, the trust, and the obedience that flows from a heart that believes Him even when the circumstances seem impossible. And that is the power of faith. It calls what does not exist into existence. It unlocks doors that no human hand can open. It moves mountains that no human strength can overcome. And it releases provision, protection, and promotion in ways that defy logic, reason, and natural expectation. Because faith is not passive. Faith is not wishful thinking. Faith is active. It is powerful. It is persistent. And it is the channel through which God's supernatural power flows into the natural realm. You have to understand that God is always ready, God is always able, God is always willing to intervene, but He honors faith, He responds to trust, He moves on behalf of those who believe Him, even when the world says it is impossible, even when the doctors say there is no hope, even when the bills say there is no provision, even when the situation says there is no way, because faith says, God, I don't see it yet. I don't understand it yet. I cannot explain it yet, but I believe you, and I trust your word, and I trust your timing, and I trust your power. And the moment you speak that kind of faith, divine intervention begins to move. Angelic assistance is dispatched. Doors that were shut start to creak open, chains that were binding you begin to fall off, and supernatural favor begins to flow. You cannot underestimate the power of faith, because faith is the language of heaven. Faith is the force that pulls God's promises into your life. And faith is the key that unlocks what has been hidden, what has been delayed, and what has been held back. And I want you to know that God is not limited by your resources, your strength, your understanding, or your circumstances, but He is limited by your faith, and He is looking for a people who will trust Him enough to step out boldly, to act courageously, to speak boldly, and to move forward in the direction of His promise even when the path is unclear, even when the future is uncertain, even when the opposition is strong. Because faith activates intervention, and intervention changes everything. Every time you choose to believe God's word over your feelings, every time you choose to trust God's timing over the delay, every time you choose to step forward when fear says stay back, you are inviting the supernatural into your natural circumstances, and the impossible begins to become possible, the invisible begins to be seen, the unheard begins to be heard, and the provision you've been waiting for begins to manifest, because God honors faith, God rewards trust, God moves on behalf of those who refuse to let doubt dictate their actions, and God releases favor, healing, breakthrough, and restoration to those who believe Him without wavering, without hesitation, and without compromise. And that is why faith is not optional. That is why faith is not casual. That is why faith is not a suggestion. It is a command. It is a necessity. It is the instrument through which God's power intersects with your life. And when you understand this, when you begin to operate in this truth, you will realize that your prayers are not just words, your worship is not just noise, your obedience is not just duty, it is faith in action. And when faith takes action, divine intervention cannot be stopped, divine favor cannot be delayed, and the miracle that you have been waiting for cannot be denied. Because God has already seen the struggle, He has already heard the cries, He has already known the need, and all that remains is for your faith to activate the move of God on your behalf. God's timing is perfect, even when it feels delayed. And I need you to hear that today, because so many people look at their calendars, their clocks, their schedules, and the world around them and assume that God is late, that He has forgotten them, or that He does not care about their pain, their prayers, or their dreams. But nothing could be further from the truth, because God is never early, He is never late, He is always right on time, and His timing is designed to bring about maximum impact, maximum blessing, and maximum glory in your life, even when your human understanding cannot see it, even when your emotions are telling you that it should have happened yesterday, and even when the world is shouting that it is too late, because God operates on a divine timetable that is beyond human comprehension, a timeline that is orchestrated with precision, wisdom, and infinite knowledge, and every moment of waiting, every delay, every pause, every season that seems long and challenging is a part of the process to prepare you for exactly what He has planned. You have to understand that what feels like delay is actually divine preparation, that what seems like a pause is actually a period of positioning, that what looks like nothing happening is actually everything happening behind the scenes, because God's timing is never random, it is never haphazard. It is always intentional, and it is always perfect. And when you learn to trust it, when you learn to walk in patience, when you learn to believe that God's schedule is better than your own, your faith grows, your strength develops, your perspective expands, and you are equipped to handle not just what is coming, but the fullness of what is coming in ways that you cannot yet imagine. The delay is not denial. The waiting is not punishment. The silence is not absence, because God is always at work, orchestrating, arranging, aligning, and preparing. And when the time is right, when every piece is in place, when every condition has been fulfilled, the breakthrough, the answer, the provision, and the miracle will arrive, and it will be more than you hoped, more than you imagined, and more than you expected. Because God's timing is not just about speed, it is about perfection. It is about wholeness, it is about fullness, it is about bringing about the exact outcome that will honor Him, bless you, and impact others in ways that ripple far beyond your vision. I want you to understand that impatience can be dangerous, that rushing ahead can be harmful, that trying to force things before God's time can lead to disappointment, delay, and detours, but patience, faith, trust, and obedience align you with the perfect timing of heaven. And when you are aligned with God's timing, everything flows with ease. Everything works together for your good. Everything falls into place according to His plan. And even the opposition, even the challenges, even the setbacks, even the storms become instruments to position you exactly where you need to be at exactly the right time. There is a reason that things have not happened yet. There is a purpose in the waiting. There is a strategy in the delay. And there is wisdom in trusting God's timing over your own understanding. Because when you do, you will realize that nothing is wasted, nothing is overlooked, nothing is delayed unnecessarily, and everything that comes to you will come at the perfect time, with perfect measure, and with perfect impact. And it will be a testimony to God's faithfulness, God's wisdom, and God's perfect timing, because He knows exactly when to move. He knows exactly what to release. He knows exactly where to place you, and He knows exactly how to bring about the manifestation of His promises in your life. And when you finally see it, when it finally happens, when the breakthrough finally comes, you will be able to look back at every moment of waiting, every moment of delay, every moment of seeming silence, and you will understand that God's timing was not only perfect, it was necessary, it was purposeful, and it was orchestrated for your ultimate good, your greatest blessing, and your eternal glory. And that is why even in the waiting, even in the uncertainty, even in the struggle, you can hold on, you can trust, and you can declare that God's timing is perfect. Even when it feels delayed, your trials are temporary, but your testimony is eternal. And I need you to hear that today, because so many people are living like their difficulties define them, like their pain will last forever, like the storm clouds over their life will never clear. But God wants you to understand that the hard season you are in is not permanent, it is temporary. It is a chapter, not the whole story, and the struggles you are facing today are only setting the stage for the triumph that will be told for a lifetime. Because your testimony, once you walk through this, will inspire, encourage, and uplift generations who have never even met you, but who will see the fingerprints of God on your life and know that He is real, He is faithful, and He delivers. Every trial you face is a momentary assignment to teach you, to stretch you, to strengthen you, and to refine you. And no matter how intense, no matter how long it feels, no matter how overwhelming it seems, it cannot last forever, because God has the final word. And His word says that every battle has an end, every storm has a rainbow, every night has a morning, and every trial has a testimony that comes after it. And that testimony will not only glorify God, it will validate your endurance, it will celebrate your faith, and it will demonstrate that what the enemy intended for harm, God can turn for good. I want you to understand that the pain you feel is real, the struggle is real, the setback is real, but the glory that is coming is even more real. And the more you endure faithfully, the more your testimony grows in power, depth, and impact. Because people are not inspired by perfection, they are inspired by perseverance. They are not moved by comfort, they are moved by courage. They are not influenced by the absence of struggle, they are influenced by overcoming it. And your testimony will become a beacon of hope to someone who is sitting in the same storm, who is wondering if it will ever end, who is questioning if anyone else has survived what they are going through. And when they hear your story, when they see your life, when they witness the faithfulness of God in your situation, it will breathe life into their hope. It will strengthen their courage, and it will ignite their faith, because your temporary trial will become a permanent source of inspiration. You have to understand that trials are not punishments, they are not condemnations, they are not indicators that God has abandoned you. They are opportunities for growth, they are platforms for divine demonstration, and they are arenas where God's power can be displayed, because it is in the middle of struggle that God's glory shines brightest. It is in the depths of difficulty that His provision becomes most visible. It is in the midst of pain that His miracles are most evident. And it is through enduring faithfully that you prepare yourself to share a story that will resonate long after the trial is gone. The temporary nature of your struggle means that you must hold on, you must persevere, you must refuse to give in to despair. Because the moment you step through the trial with faith, the moment you rise above the challenge with courage, the moment you trust God when it seems impossible, you position yourself for a testimony that cannot be erased, that cannot be diminished, and that cannot be forgotten, because testimonies outlast pain, testimonies outshine trials, testimonies transcend seasons, and testimonies have the power to change lives, shift perspective, and reveal the glory of God in ways that nothing else can. And that is why your current difficulty, your present struggle, your ongoing trial is temporary. But the story of how God brought you through it, how He strengthened you, How he delivered you, how he provided for you, and how he elevated you will echo for eternity. It will resonate in the hearts of those who hear it, and it will stand as evidence that God's power is greater than any problem. His faithfulness is stronger than any failure, and his love is deeper than any suffering, and this truth must be held, embraced, and declared, because the temporary trial is producing an eternal testimony. The fleeting pain is building a lasting proclamation, and the moment you realize this, your perspective shifts, your faith rises, and your endurance becomes unstoppable. Help often arrives in ways you cannot predict. And I need you to hear that today, because too many people are waiting for God to show up in the ways they expect, to answer their prayers on their schedule, to provide in the manner they have imagined. And when it doesn't happen exactly like that, they assume he has forgotten them, or that he is not faithful, or that he does not care. But God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and his methods are infinitely more creative, more powerful, and more perfect than anything we can devise. And sometimes the help you are waiting for will come from a direction you never considered, through people you never expected, at a time you never imagined, in a way that defies human understanding. And that is the beauty of divine intervention. It surprises, it amazes, it overwhelms, and it works in ways that cannot be predicted, controlled, or contained by human logic. And that is why you have to remain alert, remain expectant, and remain faithful, because the help you are waiting for may not look like what you thought, may not arrive when you thought, may not come through the hands you thought, but it is coming, and it will be perfect, and it will be exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, and exactly how you need it, because God is not limited by human imagination, and his provision is not restricted by human expectation. You have to understand that sometimes God's help comes through unlikely sources, through people you didn't know could assist you, through circumstances that seem random, through doors that were previously closed, and even through what looks like challenges or setbacks. Because God can turn every situation into a vehicle for his intervention. He can repurpose what seems impossible, and he can transform what looks like defeat into a doorway for victory. And when you learn to recognize the hand of God in unexpected places, when you learn to see his provision even when it doesn't match your plan, when you learn to embrace his timing even when it surprises you, you will begin to experience help in ways that exceed your understanding, beyond your control, and above your expectations. And that is why faith is so necessary, because you must trust God even when you cannot see the full picture, even when you cannot predict the outcome, even when you cannot understand the method. Because the help of God is always aligned with his purpose, his wisdom, and his plan for your life, and it may defy human reasoning, but it will accomplish exactly what you need. You must also understand that God can use people, resources, opportunities, ideas, dreams, and even obstacles to bring about help in ways you never imagined. And sometimes the help comes after a period of waiting, after a season of preparation, after a trial that strengthens you, so that when it arrives, you are ready to receive it, you are ready to steward it, and you are ready to maximize its impact. Because God doesn't just provide help, he prepares you to fully embrace it, to learn from it, and to leverage it for his glory, for your growth, and for the benefit of others. And that is why you cannot give up, you cannot stop believing, you cannot allow disappointment or discouragement to cloud your vision. Because the help is on its way. It is coming from a direction you cannot predict. It is arriving in a way you cannot anticipate. And it is going to exceed everything you imagine, because God's imagination is greater than yours. His power is stronger than any obstacle, and his love is more committed to your breakthrough than anything else in the universe. And when you recognize this, when you open your eyes, when you position yourself with expectation, when you stand in faith, the impossible will become possible, the unseen will become visible, the provision will manifest, and the miracle that you've been waiting for will arrive, not as you expected, but in the way God knew was perfect. Because help often arrives in ways you cannot predict, but it is always on time, it is always sufficient, it is always powerful, and it is always designed to glorify God while lifting you higher than you could have imagined. And trust in God's promises, not your current circumstances. And I need you to hear that today, because so many people look at what is happening around them, at the bills that are piling up, at the relationships that are broken, at the opportunities that seem closed, at the health challenges that feel insurmountable, and they begin to doubt. They begin to worry. They begin to believe that the promises of God are empty, that His word is unreliable, that His faithfulness is conditional. But the truth is that God's promises do not depend on your present situation. They do not depend on your feelings. They do not depend on what the natural eye can see. They depend on His character, His power, and His unchanging word. And when you learn to trust His promises above your present circumstances, you tap into a supernatural source of hope, peace, courage, and strength that the world cannot give and the world cannot take away, because God's word is alive. It is active, it is powerful, it is faithful, and it never fails. And the moment you anchor your heart in His promises, the storms around you lose their power to shake you, the challenges surrounding you lose their ability to defeat you, and the setbacks that seem so permanent lose their grip on your life, because what God has promised will come to pass. Even if the way is unclear, even if the timing seems long, even if the struggle feels overwhelming, and even if doubt tries to whisper in your ear that it will not happen, because His word is sure, His faithfulness is unwavering, and His promises are eternal. I want you to understand that circumstances are temporary, feelings are fleeting, and situations can change, but the promises of God stand forever. And when you learn to look beyond what you see, when you learn to listen to the voice of faith instead of the voice of fear, when you learn to meditate on the truth of God's word instead of the reality of your current struggles, you begin to walk in confidence, in expectation, and in authority, because faith in His promises positions you to receive the impossible, to overcome the unthinkable, and to rise above what seems inevitable. And that is why trusting God's promises is not optional. It is necessary. It is essential. It is life-giving. It is transformational, because it aligns you with the power, the provision, and the purpose of heaven itself. And it changes the way you see everything. It shifts your perspective. It strengthens your resolve, and it empowers you to keep moving forward, to keep believing, and to keep declaring that God is faithful even when the world says otherwise, even when the evidence seems stacked against you, even when the struggle appears too great, because His promises are bigger than your problems. His faithfulness is greater than your fear, and His word is stronger than any obstacle. And when you choose to trust Him, when you choose to stand on His promises, when you choose to believe what He said over what you see, you activate a force in your life that cannot be shaken, cannot be stopped, and cannot be denied. Because trust in God's promises is the key to supernatural victory, divine provision, and unshakable peace. And it positions you to walk in a life of favor, abundance, and purpose that exceeds anything you could imagine on your own. And it allows you to speak to the storm, to declare over your situation, and to hold fast to the truth that what God has spoken will come to pass, because His promises are true, His word is reliable, His love is faithful, and His power is unmatched. And when you trust Him completely, when you refuse to be moved by what you see, when you hold fast to what He has said, your circumstances may challenge you, your feelings may falter, your situation may seem hopeless, but your trust in His promises will sustain you, will carry you, will guide you, and will position you for the breakthrough, the victory, the answer, and the manifestation of all that He has promised, because the one who promised is faithful, and the one who is faithful cannot fail, and the one who cannot fail will always bring His promises to pass, even when you cannot see it, even when you cannot understand it, and even when it feels impossible. And that is why trusting God's promises above your current circumstances is the anchor of hope, the foundation of faith, and the path to triumph.